Good evening, and welcome to the historic campus of Fayetteville State University. It is important to understand that historically, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's nonviolent civil rights campaign was deeply rooted in Christianity. Most of the leaders that worked with Dr. King were also pastors, and most of the venues for his speeches and headquarters for his actions were held in churches. Many of Dr. King's speeches include quotes from the Bible or Christian hymnody. Dr. King's faith was vital in helping him stay on a difficult course and helped to encourage his followers. This is a musical tale woven from the motherland to America. From the drums of West Africa to the folk spirituals sung by those in bondage, waiting for Moses to get them to the promised land, as we steal away with Harriet, and 100 years later, another Moses appears to fight for the civil rights in the person of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who proclaims proudly that we shall overcome. And the change comes 40 years later when Barack Hussein Obama is elected and becomes the first African-American president of the United States. You will notice on the program that we've entitled this program, A Change Gonna Come. A change gonna come. Music is a change agent in every facet of life. Join us now on this musical journey as Harriet speaks to you.
During all my slave life, I never lost sight of freedom. It was always on my heart. It came to me like a solemn thought, and often circumstances must stimulate the desire to be free and raise great expectation of it. We always called freedom possum, as to keep the white people from knowing what we was talking about. We all understood it. When I found I had crossed that line, I looked at my hands to see if I was the same person. There was such a glory over everything. The sun came like gold through trees and over the fields, and I felt like I was in heaven. I was the conductor of the Underground Railroad for 8 years, and I can say what most conductors can't say. I never ran my train off the track, and I never lost a passenger. Slavery is the next thing to hell.
Let me be free. Is there any God? Why am I a slave? I will run away. I will not stand it. Get caught or get clear of it. I'll try it. I have only one life to lose. I had well be killed running and die standing. It cannot be. I shall live and die a slave.
done with the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, going home to live with God. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, going home to live with God. I want to meet my brother. I want to meet my mother. I want to meet my mother. I'm going to live with God. I want to meet my mother. I want to meet my mother. I want to meet my mother. I'm going to live with God. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, going home to live with God. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, going home to live with God. No more living in a way. Wait. No more living in a way. Wait. No more living in a way. I'm going to live with God. No more living in a way. Wait. troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, going home to live with God. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, going home to live with God. I want to meet my Jesus. I want to meet my Jesus. I want to meet my Jesus. I'm going to live with God. I want to meet my Jesus. I want to meet my Jesus. I want to meet my Jesus. I'm going to live with God. I'm going to live with God. I'm going to live with God.
A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the currents end, and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with fearful trill of things unknown, but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds of soft wind through the sighing trees, and fat worms waiting on a dawn bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of his dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with the fearful trill of things unknown, but longed for still. And his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom.
Freedom.
struggle for social justice that took place mainly during the 1950s and the 1960s for blacks to gain equal rights under the law in the United States. The Civil War had officially abolished slavery, but it didn't end discrimination against blacks. They continued to endure the devastating effects of racism, especially in the South. By the mid-20th century, African Americans had had more than enough of prejudice and violence against them. They, along with many whites, mobilized and began an unprecedented fight for equality that spanned 2 decades.
Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it, and splinters, and boards torn up, and places with no carpet on the floor, bare. But all the time, I've been climbing on, and reaching landings, and turning corners, and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So boy, don't you turn back. Don't you step down on the steps cause you find it's kinda hard. Don't you fall now, for I's still going, honey. I's still climbing. And life for me ain't been no crystal stair.
Every now and then, I guess we all think realistically, about that day when we will be victimized with what is life's final common denominator. That's something we call death. We all think about it, and every now and then I think about my own funeral, and I think about my own death, and I don't think of it in a morbid sense. And every now and then I ask myself, what is it that I was going to say? And I leave the word to you this evening. If any of you are around when I have to meet my day, I don't want a long funeral. And if you get somebody to deliver the eulogy, tell them not to talk too long. Every now and then I wonder what I want them to say. Tell them not to mention that I have a Nobel Peace Prize. That isn't important. Tell them not to mention that I have 300 or 400 other awards. That's not important. Tell them not to mention where I went to school. I'd like somebody to mention that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others. I'd like for somebody to say that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to love somebody. I want you to say that day that I tried to be right on the war question. I want you to be able to say that day that I did try to feed the hungry. I want you to be able to say that day that I did try in my life to clothe those who were naked. I want you to say on that day that I did try in my life to visit those who were in prison. I want you to say that I tried to love and serve humanity. Yes, and if you want to say that I was a drum major, say that I was a drum major for justice. Say that I was a drum major for peace. I was a drum major for righteousness. And all of the other shallow things will not matter. I won't have any money to leave behind. I won't have the fine and luxurious things in life to leave behind. But I just want to leave a committed life behind. And that is all I want to say. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or a song, if I can show somebody he's traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. Amen.
If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or a song, if I can show somebody that they're traveling wrong, then my living shall not be in vain. If I can do my duty
shall not be in vain.
We Shall Overcome is a gospel song which became a protest song and a key anthem of the civil rights movement. The song is most commonly attributed as being lyrically descended from I'll Overcome Someday, a hymn by Charles Albert Tindley that was first published in 1900.